Hi, Andy Sallmon here with Marelux in sunny Southern California. We're at the La Jolla Shores near San Diego. It's a famous dive site out here. Most of the instruction goes on out here, and a lot of beginners come out here, and there's some fantastic macro and even some good wide angles sometimes. So I'm out here today doing a dive, some final testing with the Marelux Apollo S strobe. This little compact strobe is packed with a punch and features. It's got a guide number of 36, which is higher than almost any compact strobe on the market right now. It'll do 800 full power flashes on a set of batteries, and it uses the lithium 18650 batteries, a set of 2 of those in the battery compartment. The strobe also has 4 different shooting modes plus a test mode. I don't know if you can see the back of it very well here, but the power controller is over here on this side, and that is going to control your manual mode, of course. There's 12 steps, which will allow for all kinds of fine-tuning and adjustment. After that, you're going to come back over here and you're going to turn it to auto sync if you want to switch into what most people consider TTL mode. Auto sync in this particular strobe is super accurate. It's the most accurate TTL I've ever seen out of anyone's electronics. Really kind of surprised me. Most people complain about TTL only being good for macro and no good for wide angle. I've used it for both and had extremely great results. I mean, surprising results. I'd like to adjust the exposure compensation just a tiny bit on that, because almost every TTL system, when you're shooting it underwater out there, tends to overexpose just a hair. Not so much that you couldn't correct it easily in post though. And these are the same, but super accuracy out of it when I took about a third stop off in exposure compensation. Basically, it was kind of just shoot it and forget the settings almost. It was that simple, that crazy. So if you want something super easy, that's a good way to go. My favorite mode on this is the HSS mode, and that means high speed sync. HSS is good when you need a higher shutter speed to tone down strong background light, or if you're shooting something that's super fast like we do out here in Southern California with our California sea lions. Now in high speed sync, I'm able to go way beyond the typical synchronization speed of my Canon R5 camera here, which is at 1/200th or 1/250th of a second if I'm in electronic shutter. I tend to like mechanical shutter, so that limits me to 1/200th. So having high-speed sync with this Apollo S has been great for me. I used it quite a bit on a recent trip to Raja Ampat and Halmahera, Indonesia, in the bright, clear blue water there, especially in the shallows where the sun was extremely bright. With high-speed sync, I was able to tone the backgrounds down, no problem whatsoever. Now the next mode on here is one you don't hear too much about. It's called MTL. And I don't know if there's too many other strobe manufacturers that actually use a mode like this, but this mode was specifically designed for those of you that want to shoot a high frame rate. And it'll support up to 10 frames per second on your camera. Now there's some cameras that can shoot a higher frame rate than that, yes, but 10 frames a second is quite a bit. So at 10 frames a second, MTL mode, for those of you that like to shoot that way, it's packed into here as well. When the strobe first fires up, we go into test mode, and it takes just a couple of seconds. There's kind of a warming cycle that occurs, and that warming cycle is also testing the electronics as well, and then the strobe's ready to go. There's a battery life indicator also built into the ready light, so the ready light isn't a single color. So when you're fully charged down to 80%, you're at blue. When you're from 80% to 60%, it goes into green. 60 to 40 is yellow. 40 to 20 is purple, and then finally 0 to 20 is red. I've never had a Marelux strobe into the red before. I even did a 5-day trip to British Columbia with a different model, the Apollo 3 Mark II, and never even charged the batteries. So that's pretty amazing. Now keep in mind, when we talk about the number of flashes you can get out of a set of these batteries, this particular strobe is rated at about 800 flashes. We say about because it depends on how long the strobe is on, etc. But if the batteries are in good shape and you're out there shooting quite a bit, you'll get 800 flashes out of this. That is 4 times more than most of the competition will be able to get. We also have a real fast recycle time in this strobe. 0.9 seconds at full power. And full power being a guide number of 36, that means you can shoot f13, f11 at 3 feet and get a recycle in just under a second. That's pretty quick. Most of us don't need that kind of power most of the time unless you've got a strong backlit background and maybe you need to overcome it so your subject isn't shadowing or silhouetting. So that is a real big plus for the strobe. It's just packed with performance, packed with power in a compact strobe. I don't think there's anything like it that compares in every single way. There may be some strobes that compare in one feature or another, but not when you look at the entire package here. Now, the beam angle of the strobe is also important as well. And with this one, we've got 110 native degree beam angle. You can see that there are 2 flash tubes inside there, so they're stacked like that instead of a circular flash tube. So what they did, what the engineers at Marelux did, instead of doing a circular flash tube, which is generally what we like to get a nice circular beam of light, they put this nice dome on the front of it. You might be able to see that if I hold the strobe just right to the camera. So there's a nice dome in front. So that gives you the same kind of effect, a nice round beam that you'd get with a circular flash tube. The benefit is that you don't have all the real estate of a circular flash tube, which causes the recycle time to slow down. So we've got a fast recycle time because we've got those stacked flash tubes inside there and we've got this nice lens on the front of it. The strobe is rated to 100 meters. It only weighs 1.6 pounds without batteries, 1.8 pounds with batteries. It is actually neutral in the water when you put this little accessory cozy, it's like a can cozy basically, over the strobe. This one's got it on. I had it on for the dive and took it off for the review portion here. But with this on it, in fresh water, it tested out just about neutral, so I assume in salt water it would be. Now, that said, neoprene does compress as you go to depth, so you're going to lose a little bit of that buoyancy. But it does keep the strobe pretty lightweight while it's underwater. I think they rated it at 0.33 pounds underwater weight without this, so with this, it's probably less than a quarter pound, maybe 0.20, I don't know exactly. It's kind of a hard thing to measure. On the sides of the strobe, you'll notice these optical ports, and these optical ports on the left and the right side of the strobe are for a product that we manufacture called a Lumalink. And a Lumalink goes on the top of one of our housings, plugs into one of the fiber optic sockets here, and it also has ports on it. It fires a light across to the strobe so you can get wireless strobe triggering. So you don't need all the fiber optic cables, and in deeper, darker water, it'll work up to 10, 15 feet away, and shallower, brighter, clear water, it might only be 4 or 5 feet away, kind of depends on the situation, but it works. That's the main thing. So you don't need to have the fiber optic cables if you don't want them. And that thing's called a Lumalink, so have a look for that as well. So that's it. That's the Marelux Apollo S strobe. This is Andy Sallmon over and out in La Jolla, sunny La Jolla. Thank you.